Hello students. In earlier session, I have just made a reference about accounting standards. In this particular session, we will be covering in detail the concept of accounting standard. Basically, what is accounting standard? What is its importance? Why at all over the world, accountants felt that in accounting standards should be introduced, and what are the limitations, and what is the current scenario in India about the application of accounting standards. All that we are going to discuss in this particular session. Next. Now the first point which I would like to highlight is what is the need of accounting standard. In earlier session also I have told this point that there are different areas in accounting where accountants uses his own experience, his own understanding, his own interpretation in dealing with these different treatments. Just take example of a depreciation, charging depreciation for a fixed asset. Now you know that there are many methods of charging depreciation, but which method should be followed for which particular asset, what rate should be applied for, there can be differences of opinion. So when the same two organizations are purchasing the asset on the same date, but just because they are charging different methods of depreciation, after 4 years the value is going to be different. Asset is same, use is same, but the value which is shown by the financial statements is different. So obviously what happens? The financial position differs of these two organizations, and that is why it is absolutely essential that you are going to follow the same accounting system, same accounting concept, rules, and that is what I said, need for accounting standards. While preparing the financial statements, the accountants used to follow different rules and conventions, as I told you, which have been developed over many years as a product of collective experiences of participating accountants, practicing accountants. As a result, wide variety of accounting methods were used by different companies. It was then felt that there should be some standardized set of rules and accounting principles to reduce or eliminate confusing variations in the methods used in preparing financial statements. Students, read this sentence very carefully, very important sentence. What is felt that there should be some standardized set of rules and accounting principles to reduce or eliminate confusing variations in the methods used in preparing financial statements. Ultimately, you are going to present the financial statements. So the information which you are going to present through these financial statements should be comparable, and that is why it is suggested that you should go for standardized practices. However, such principles should have sufficient flexibility in view of specific circumstances of an enterprise and also in line with the changes in the economic environment, social needs, legal requirements, and technical developments. Whatever standard has been introduced cannot be fixed forever. There should be some flexibility. You should be in a position to make certain changes, of course, provided they are useful from organization's point of view. And all this has resulted in the introduction of accounting standard. Next. Now, what is the meaning of accounting standard? Accounting standards basically are written documents. So they are in black and white. They are written documents issued by expert accounting body. So who is going to issue these accounting standards? The expert accounting body. Which is expert accounting body? ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. They are considered as the expert body for framing these accounting standards. So these are basically written documents which are issued by these experts. What these accounting standards are covering? They are covering 5 basic points. Which are these basic 5 points? First is recognition. You have to recognize that particular item in the books of accounts. You have to recognize that you are going to record this particular item in your books of accounts. So first is recognition. Second point is what? Measurement. You have to measure. You have to calculate the value of that particular item. You have recognized, for example, that it is going to be a revenue item. For example, it is going to be a capital item. So you have recognized it. But now you are going to measure it. You are going to make a valuation of that. And then what you will be doing? You will be giving the treatment. You will be presenting that and you will be disclosing it in your books of accounts. You have got cash flow statement, you have got profit and loss account, that is income statement, you have got balance sheet, that is position statement. That particular item, where you are going to record, where you are going to show, on which side, how you are going to treat that. For example, if you have made a particular expenditure on advertisement, for example, you have made an expenditure, 10 lakhs of rupees you have spent on advertisement. Now, the advertisement expenditure what you have made, you are going to get a benefit for more than 1 year. Benefit is not restricted to 1 year. You are going to get benefits for 3 years, 4 years. So, is it correct that the whole amount of advertisement you should debit to P&L in that 1 year only? Policy may differ. So, which item should be treated as a revenue item? It should be treated as a capital item. Whether you should charge it to P&L or to the balance sheet, how you should spread that amount, all these decisions may vary from accountant to accountant. So this becomes basically the very important decision as to how to treat a particular item, how to recognize a particular item, where to show a particular item, at what value that particular item should be shown. So these are the basic 5 points which are covered by every accounting standard: recognition, measurement, treatment, presentation, and disclosure. These 5 aspects of any area is covered by the accounting standard. Now, as I told you, in India, accounting standards are issued by whom? By Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI. But what ICAI has done, it has formed a body on its behalf, which we call it as Accounting Standard Board. And that Accounting Standard Board is responsible for framing all the accounting standards. Now, what are the basic objectives behind introduction of accounting standard? The first point, as I say, is to harmonize and to standardize the diverse accounting policies and practices. So first point you should understand, students, that in any area, while writing the books of accounts, there can be different methods, there can be different treatments which you can give to a particular item. As I have given the example of a depreciation. You can take another example. For example, you are receiving a grant from government grants. Now, government grants can be received in cash, it can be received in kind, it can be received for the expense, can be for the income, it can be for the asset. So, how you are receiving a government grant? Depending on that, what treatment you should give for the government grants? A number of methods. So, diverse accounting policies are there. You are giving benefits to the employees, retirement benefits to the employees. How you are going to treat those benefits, employee benefits, that will be covered by a particular accounting standard. You have got plant, you have got equipments. How to record those plants, those equipments in your books of accounts, that will be covered by a particular accounting standard. You have got n number of intangible assets, goodwill, patents, brands, trademarks. How you are going to record all these intangible assets in the books of accounts? So there is a list of different areas where accountant has to use his own brain, his own experience, his own organizational situation, and then decide how to treat that particular item. So what is the first objective of introduction of accounting standard? To harmonize and to standardize. All these treatments should be harmonized. What you have to harmonize and standardize? The diverse accounting policies and practices. For every area, you have got variety of policies, variety of practices that we are going to eliminate. And they are suggesting that in this area, do this. For this particular item, give this particular. That is how we are going ahead. What is the second objective? To eliminate the problem of non-comparability of financial statements with those of other organizations. This particular point is nothing but the outcome of the first point only. Suppose you have purchased plant and machinery. Value is 1 lakh. One organization is charging depreciation at 10% straight line. Other is charging 10% diminishing. Now you know that in straight line, every year depreciation will be charged on the original cost. So every year, what will be the amount of depreciation? 10,000. 10% on 1 lakh, it will be 10,000. So 1 lakh minus 10,000, value left be 90,000. Second year, again 10,000, value left be 80,000. Again 10, again 10. So in all the 10 years working life, if we assume, you are going to charge 10,000 under straight line method. But if one organization is following diminishing balance method, rate is same 10%, but diminishing balance, what will happen? In the first year, amount of depreciation is going to be constant, 10,000. But in the second year, it will be charged on the book value. Now, what is your book value? 90,000. On 90,000, you will charge at 10%, so that will be 9,000. So value left will be 81,000. Then in the third year, you are going to charge it on 81,000, which will be 8,100. You could sense what is happening, students? The value now which is shown after 3 years by two firms is going to be different. And why this is different? Is it because the first management is efficient? No. It is because you are following a different method of depreciation. So when you change the method, the value which is left in your books of accounts is going to be different. Definitely your financial position will be different. Then how can you compare? Based on this one method only, or based on this one asset only, if you say that A organization is doing very well and B is not doing well, or vice versa, B is doing very well and not A, this will be a totally wrong conclusion. The change in financial position is because of the difference in the method what you are following. What is absolutely essential? That you should follow same accounting policies so that you can compare the working results of both organizations. Now let's cover the third point of objective, to add reliability to financial statements by using the common practices. This point is very important, students, to add reliability. Why this is important? Whatever books of accounts you are preparing, whatever books of accounts you are presenting to the stakeholders or to any other concerned party, should create confidence in their mind that whatever books of accounts, whatever information, whatever financial disclosures are made by the company, I should keep faith on that. They are true, they are fair. There is no misappropriation made, there is no manipulation made in the books of accounts. That confidence should get developed in my mind. And when I can keep this confidence on the books of accounts? Only when these books of accounts are prepared on the basis of those concepts, those principles, those rules which are followed all over the world, which is followed even by the other organizations. When same principles are followed by everyone, then definitely a confidence gets built up in the minds of the investors. But if you are following a particular method, if they are following some other method, then obviously what will happen? You may have doubt that whether this is correct or that is correct. On what should I keep faith, confidence? So when you follow the same accounting principles, concepts which are followed by others, then a sort of confidence gets developed which adds reliability to your book of accounts. The reliable. Okay? And then fourth point is to provide a set of accounting policies which will cover necessary disclosure requirements and valuation methods for various financial transactions. Necessary disclosure requirements. What is absolutely essential for the outsiders? They must understand. You should not hide any of the information. You should not club any of the information. That's why even in the concepts also and conventions also we have said materiality, full disclosure. Why that is introduced? Because you should not hide, mix any of the important information, and it should be clearly disclosed to the stakeholders or the needed required persons. And what is one more point? Valuation methods what you are following. Take example of valuation of inventory. There can be different methods of valuing the inventory. Inventory means what? Raw material. It can be WIP. It can be finished goods. You are making valuation of that. But which method you are following for that? FIFO method, LIFO method, simple average, weighted average. Which method you are going to follow for that? You should understand. Another example, you have got investments. While showing the closing balance of investments, you have made investments in securities, in government bonds. And at the end of the financial year, you are showing those investments. What should be the value of those investments? What principles you are following? What methods you are following? All that should be clearly disclosed. So valuation methods are very important. Which policy you are following? You are following. So all these 4 points explain what is the need for accounting standards. Next. Obviously, the benefits what you will be getting from the accounting standard are out of those needs. What is the first benefit? It ensures uniformity in accounting. Obviously, when each and everyone is following the same type of rules, same principle, same concept, same suggestions, there will be uniformity in the books of accounts. Second point, it improves the reliability of financial statements. Same point what we have covered in the need also. It assists the auditors in checking the books of accounts. Now, who is auditor and why he is appointed? Auditor is basically a third independent person who is appointed by the company or by the business or by the organization. For what? For checking the books of accounts what you have maintained. What he checks? Whether books of accounts are as per the provisions in the Act. Whether you are following all the rules and regulations in the presentation properly or not. Whether each of your transaction is supported by proper evidence or not, which we call it as vouchers, which you will be learning in detail in this Tally ERP. What is the importance of voucher? So every transaction should be supported by a sufficient document. So auditor has to check that. Whether you have made any frauds, manipulations, misappropriations, whether some of the expenditure is not supported, not required. All these points auditor has to check. Now his job will be very easy, he'll be very comfortable when you are following all the flow very systematically. Whatever is followed by others, you are also doing the same thing. So he is not required to use his brain, why you have done this, why you have followed that. No, that is not required because it is assumed that you have done like this only. You have followed what is suggested only. His job becomes comfortable. So it assists the auditors. What is the fourth point? It will make possible the comparison of books of account. This is absolutely essential for investors' point of view. Even for the management, this point is important. Why? Because managers and management, maybe board of directors, they should understand where do we stand as compared to other organizations. With the similar investment, with the similar labor force, with all other similar points, if they are earning more and if we are earning less, where we are lagging behind. This is possible only when we make the comparison with the other organizations. And this comparison should not be only with the other firms, it should be even with your own organization for the past years. In the last 2-3 years, what I have done, how much I have earned, what benefit I have got, and now what is the situation? So you can have intra-firm comparison as well as inter-firm comparison to know where do we stand. So it is essential not only for the outsiders but also for the management. And this comparison is possible only when you are following the common practices. And what is the last point now? It will provide the transparency to the books of accounts. Transparency is absolutely essential. Transparency, crystal clear. You should have the clear idea as to your books of accounts, as to the profit shown by your organization, and other books of accounts what you have maintained. When there will be transparency, when you are following proper rules, proper guidelines, it is not required that you have to hide something. When you have to hide something, when you have done something wrong, when you have done everything correctly, properly, as per guidelines, why you need to hide anything? So it will provide transparency. So all these are the benefits what you get from the accounting standards. Next. Now what will be the limitations? There are few limitations also of accounting standard. But before going for explanation of these limitations, one point I would like to make clear. In spite of these limitations, it is suggested that you should follow accounting standards. Just for the theory purpose, we say that these are the limitations. Every policy has got pros and cons. So you have to understand what are the limitations, but the advantages are so strong that you should go for the accounting standards. Now, what is the first limitation? It may bring inflexibility and rigidity in maintaining the books of accounts to some extent. Rigidity and inflexibility. Once you have followed a particular policy as advised, you are not expected to change it again and again. Though you feel that whatever we have done was correct at that time, still, each and every year, you are not expected to change the policy. Under exceptional circumstances, can change. So to a certain extent, you can say there is rigidity or there is inflexibility to the books of account. What is the second point? It may involve high costs as business may be required to change their entire procedure, upgrade their systems and provide training to the employees. This point is very much valid, students. Now, because of this pandemic situation, when we shifted from offline to online mode, our teachers were not very much comfortable with this system because we haven't covered this earlier. But what our college has done, it has spent a huge amount and it has provided complete 1 month training to all the teachers. This has added cost to the college, definitely. So when you are going to implement something different, something new, you have to upgrade the systems. You have to provide training to the employees. When first time computers were introduced in the banks, what happened? Training was absolutely essential for the bank employees, maybe few years back. That has costed a lot to the bank, but that is essential because you have to go with the current situation. So to a certain extent, your cost will definitely increase, high cost will be there. What is the third point? It becomes sometimes difficult for the accountants to choose among alternatives. Now, this point needs some explanation. For example, a very common example which is depreciation. As I told you, there are n number of methods. Accounting standard doesn't tell you that follow this method or follow that method. They tell you that these are the methods out of which you can follow. You can do like this or you can do like this. So from those alternatives, accountant has to choose. Accounting standard never tells you that do only this. They tell you the alternatives, possible ways, possible methods, possible practices, and accountant has to select. So sometimes there can be some confusion as to which accounting method or policy should I select from these alternatives. And then what is the last? It is a time consuming process as implementation of accounting standards requires many steps to be followed to prepare financial reports, which makes accounting processes complex and time consuming. Sometimes it happens, but over the period, this is very comfortable. Those who are aged professors, you can say, they feel quite comfortable. कि हमको पेपर निकालना है, 50 क्वेश्चंस निकालने हैं, take a paper, take a pen, everything is ready in the brain, go on writing the questions, one after the other. But the moment we are told that use MS Office, open Google Forms, type questions over there, save them, schedule a meeting, it is time consuming, definitely. And it may not be understood by everyone. Same practice follows over here. When you are following accounting standards, it may not be understood by each and every account. It may take some time to adjust to this changing situation. But the benefits are many. So obviously, you should go for all these accounting standards. These we can say that limitations, and as I have told you, in spite of these limitations, each and every organization nowadays go for these accounting standards. And that itself highlights the importance of this particular concept. This is a very important part of this session, students, which I would like to highlight, and you too should concentrate on that. We are covering IND AS, what I call it as Indian Accounting Standard. Short form is IND AS. Now earlier, what we were having GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. This is a wider term which includes accounting standards, IND AS, international accounting standards, and IFRS also. IFRS also. So these 4 points are covered by GAAP. Now basically, what is the difference between all these things? Currently, what is being followed in India? And what is this all 4? That you should understand. Now, you have got national GAAP, which is called as AS. National all over the world, most of the countries, they are following, and that is why we call it as a national GAAP. National Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. They are called as accounting standard. That is AS. AS is what? You are going to follow that in a particular country. For example, in India, you are going to follow that. For example, in US, you are going to follow that. So, national GAAP is basically followed by a particular country. Then we call it as accounting standard. As against that, what we have got international GAAP, which is called as IAS, International Accounting Standards. So they are followed in most of the countries, UK and other European countries. So that is followed by a group of countries. So when it is followed by a group of countries, we call it as IAS, and when it is followed by a particular country or just by 1 or 2 countries, we call it as AS. So what is the basic difference between AS and IAS? That you have understood now. AS is what? Followed in a particular country. IAS is what? Followed by a group of countries. Okay. Now, new version of accounting standard is IND AS. New version of accounting standard is IND AS. And what is new version of IAS? is IFRS. IFRS. So earlier we were having AS. Now we have got Ind AS at national level. At international level, earlier we have got IAS. Now we have got IFRS. Okay, next. Now, why at all this change has been made? What is the reason for that? There are main two reasons. First is for international flow of funds. Now you know that international flow of funds is absolutely required, especially by the developing countries. India is still in the development stage. Now we are not in the backward stage, we are in the developing stage. But developing countries need funds for n number of reasons. So international flow of funds is absolutely essential. When it is possible? Only when common accounting practices are followed, because then they are understandable to all. If a particular item in India it is shown on P&L debit side, if in another country if it is shown on asset side, how a third person will treat that? I may treat it as an expense, he will treat it as an asset. So he will not understand your books of accounts, and unless and until he understands your books of accounts, how he will invest? How the funds will move from one country to another country? So even that government should understand, even those people should understand what you are doing. And for international flow of funds, that's why I say that they should understand the accounting policies which you are doing, and that is why you should go for the common practices which are followed by other countries. And what is the second? IFRS disclosures are very wider. IFRS disclosures are very wider. Because earlier we were having IAS. As compared to IAS, IFRS are giving more information, in detail information. They give more clarity about the books of accounts. Your books give true and fair view of your financial statement. Obviously, this is expected by anyone. IAS is not mentioning that explain this, explain that, highlight that. But IFRS is saying, no, you have to show this also. You have to highlight on this also. You should give clarity about this also. Obviously, when detailed information is expected, you are going to accept that. So, instead of IAS, they will be going for IFRS. Now, every country would like to become IFRS compliant because advantages are good. Advantages are there basically because it is giving more clarity, it is giving more information, it is giving true and fair picture, and it should be understandable to all. So what every country will feel? That I should become IFRS compliant. How can I become IFRS compliant? There are two ways. One is what? Adopt IFRS as it is, which is done by Bangladesh. They are adopting IFRS as it is. But in some cases what they may do, that they are becoming IFRS convergent. What do you mean by convergent? It means preparing our own standard, but in line or parity with IFRS, which India has done. And that's why the result is Ind AS. That's why the result is Ind AS. So we are trying to get used to the accounting standards which are introduced by IFRS. The most important point in this particular session now is that in India, basically, we have got accounting standards as well as we have got Ind AS. Why both these? Because completely we have not shifted to Ind AS. Still, even today, most of our companies are following AS, that is accounting standard. Even in the syllabus at second year or even at third year or even in the first year, whatever accounting standards you are covering, they are AS. They are not Ind AS. So if you search on Google, you may get confused. So now the most important point is that in India, we have got both sets of accounting standards in working. One is accounting standard, second is IND AS, Indian Accounting Standards. Now government has mentioned this, that overnight it is not possible that each and every company should go for IND AS. So the few companies having few, you can say, compliances, they are forced to go for IND AS, whereas the other companies, they are still following the accounting standard. But slowly and surely we have to shift from AS to IND AS. Why? Because IND AS have been prepared in line with the IFRS, and IFRS is giving you more clarity, more information about your books of account. So slowly we have to go that, but immediately it is not possible. So we have got two sets today. One is accounting standard and second is Indian Accounting Standard. So it is quite likely that in accounting standard you may have one number for particular accounting standard, and the same accounting standard may have different number in the IND AS. That is quite likely. So you should make yourself sure what I am studying, whether I am studying accounting standard, whether I am studying IND AS, and accordingly you will get the clarity. So both the sets we have. Now on 16 February 2015, MCA, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they have notified that the company's Indian Accounting Standard Rules 2015, which specified 39 IND AS covering applicability to certain classes of companies. They have also mentioned what is the date of applicability. All these points are mentioned in those particular rules of 2015. Originally, according to AS, we have got 1 to 32 accounting standards. But what is today's situation? I am saying today's situation, because this situation may change after 1 year, because ICAI keep on changing accounting standards number, because they have to adjust themselves according to the changing scenario. So number may change. So today what is the situation? That 1 to 32 accounting standards have been issued. Now here just I have given one comparative chart for you to understand. So if we are going to cover AS, then AS1 relates to disclosure of accounting policy. Even in IND AS, it is same, IND AS1. Even for 2, valuation of inventories, there also it is same, IND AS2. But AS4, in AS, it relates to contingencies and events occurring after balance sheet date. The same standard is covered in IND AS under AS10, IND AS10. Here we have got AS10 as property, plant and equipment, but the same accounting standard is covered over there in IND AS16. What I want to highlight, that what we are studying should have clarity of whether we are covering accounting standards and whether we are covering IND AS. But what is difference between two? IND AS is nothing but a modified version of AS. AS was issued earlier and it was based on IAS. Now IAS has shifted to IFRS, so we are shifting from AS to IND AS. As simple as that. We have to go with the current situation in the world. So when they are changing, even we have to change. So from AS we are shifting to IND AS. That's all. Okay. So just in conclusion, I would like to say that mandatory accounting standards are totally 29. Mandatory, compulsory. Each and every company should follow. AS8 earlier, which was related to development, research and development, that has been merged with AS26. That has been withdrawn, it has been merged with AS26. AS6, which was earlier related to depreciation, has been merged with AS10. Okay, AS8 has been replaced, it is not there, and now those points are given in AS26. AS6 has been merged with AS10. So How many accounting standards are there today? It keeps on changing because ICAI makes changes by clubbing some of the accounting standards, by deleting some of the accounting standards. That process goes on and it is absolutely essential. So non-mandatory accounting standards are AS 30, AS 31 and 32, which you may follow, not follow. They are not mandatory. But totally today we have got 27 AS. So at present we have got total 27 accounting standards which are compulsory, mandatory, which should be followed by each and every company in India. Okay, I'm sure students today's session you must have followed it completely. We have stressed completely on the accounting standards, which is very important topic and which you understand with current situation. Thank you.